Welcome back to the second section, Object-Oriented Java. So, in this lecture, we're going to talk about class. We implement class so far, that was our main class, and we put some loops, conditions, variables in that, and we play with them. Now let's look at what a class is and why we use class. So, in Java, everything is classes and objects. Without class, even we cannot print hello world. We create class to make our work easy. Without classes, we cannot manage 1000 plus lines of code, or 500 lines of code, or 300 lines of code. We divide our code into classes which can be easily managed by IDE, which is cleanly separated, easy to read, and we can do the changes as we want to do. Now, in order to understand why we need class, let's take an example of an app. This is an app, a small app, a diary app. So you can enter the data in that, and on the left hand you can enter a name, on the right hand the today tasks or title of the page, and this label will come down, and you can click on them, and then there would be further interfaces. So let's think of it. If you want to implement this diary in Java, how you would do this? Well, we can do this by dividing this into classes. How? Let's take a look at it. First of all, we're going to create a class, a user interface. By the way, this is a class diagram. A class diagram is used to represent the class graphically or diagrammatically, which make our work very easy. So if there is a complex code or a big project, we make a design and we architect them. So class diagram is one of the tools of architecture of the software. So this is a small app, so we architect them. We create a class. At the top of the class, the diagram, there is a name of the class, which is your interface. In between, there is a properties like data types, other classes, okay. And then we have a method like a getters, setters, some other methods. And in general, we have functions down. All right. Then what we can do, we can create one other class, which is a controller class, one another class, which is a main class. So controller class will control the user interface, and then what happen? We need to connect them. So how you can connect them? We can create an object of them, which we will see once we go to the IDE. And now what we can do? We can also access a user interface through main class, and we can also access controller through main class. So all these things would occur in a main class. All right. Now we're gonna look an example, and we're gonna create not this app, but another small software or an application. What this software will do, basically, this is the design of the thing that I'm going to do now. This will contain employee, one data structure, and this would contain three main classes. Now, I want to create a class that should store the data of the employee. For example, you are in the bank and someone give you a task like create a software for me that should manage the data of the employee. So we can do the same thing. This is the class diagram of what we will do. We can create employee class, and we can create a main class, and there would be one data structure which will structure our employee data, and in that we're going to use an array. All right. Now minus and plus, these symbols represent private and public. Now private and public are modifier, and what modifier does, it make the data private or public. Private means the data should be only visible inside the what we call class, and you cannot use them outside of that class. And positive plus means public, that you can use that class or that method or that property outside of the class. So then we're going to connect them, and connect them. We can create objects of them and do some stuffs over here. All right. So we don't wait, and let's go to the IDE right now to create this. Let's implement the our employee class. So what we're gonna do first of all, we need to create a new class over here. All right. So let's create it. So we're gonna click on the source, not to this particular thing. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna click right over here. I don't know why mouse is not working today. Yeah, we're gonna say Java class, and we're gonna say employee. Okay, employee. There we go. So now we have employee class, and what we're gonna do here, we need to have some sort of data. Like we have a name, which is a string. I'm not taking it too much complicated, so just name, not first name, last name. Now, as I said, we are using private, so we are going to make this data private. We cannot use them outside of that class. All right. So then we have private integer ID, and then we have also private. What we have another thing. Designation. By the way, it's also a string. I think so. Yeah, I think so. Not it is. Okay. Now we need to create one new thing that is new for you, a constructor. So what a constructor does, constructor construct a value for the object. All right, and you will see this later on, a little bit after that. So the name of the constructor is same as the name of the class. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna put a parenthesis over here, and then so constructor is by default like public. You cannot make a constructor private, right? And it can be parameterized constructor or non-parameterized constructor. I want to make it a parameterized constructor, so string name, integer ID, string, designation. All right, now I want to do what this dot name. So this dot name means this name. All right, this name, this dot name, this name should contain the value this. All right, this name. All right, so this means the class data type value. So this dot designation equals to designation. All right, so it's working perfectly. Now what we're gonna do, we can set a getters and a setters. So getters and setters is nothing but a method. So here we're gonna learn how you can create a methods, also known as a function, in what we called Java. So public, and now function has a return type. Okay, what is a function? Function is the thing which accepts something, do some process, and produce output. And it might return something, or it might not return something. If it is returning something, it should contain the value which it is returning. For example, string. All right, string get name. Now it will return the name. Return this dot name. All right, this dot name. Similarly, if it is not returning something like setters, public void set name, we can set the name. Name, which name? This name. All right, and we have same thing for the others. If you want to have a shortcut over here, you can say alt insert. Now here we have getters and setters. So we have want to getters, now designation. So as you can see, it is producing by default the getters and the setters. Alt insert setters. There we go. So now we have all methods. So it's get ID, set designation, get ID, get designation. Now we need to create an object of this employee into that main class. So how we can do that? Like a scanner, we did it before. New employee. So here we need to pass some values like name. So name is like Heather. Age is 20. Designation is like a programmer. Alright, this is it. Now with that premise that I will explain why we use new keyword and what is this particular thing, what is the object. So let's understand this all stuffs. So here is our code employee. So when we create an object like memory state is just allocated, all right, into the memory. So when we initialize it like that, employee new keyword, employee header, here I am using id and age, which is different by the way. Now what happened basically, now this employee will point to this, all right. Now the employee above will point to the employee below, which is a class. The below is class. Now this employee have a specific address which point to that down employee, and that down employee has attributes which contains values. So now we can use that values in our code. So let's go and use them in our code. So what we can do now, we can use them. So since we create one employee name, let's suppose we're gonna change the name right now. So we can say header. So I want to get the name of that person, the header. So we can say header dot. Now dot operator give us all the methods that we just created. So we can say get name. So we're gonna get the name. We can store this somewhere, or we can print it directly. So in my case, I would print it. I don't want to save it. All right. So as you can see, now we can do this like that. All right, so here we have header. So we have another method for that, that is toString methods. You can create toString methods by yourself, but I will use the auto generator and alt insert. You can press alt plus insert, then toString, and this three you should select, and there we go. This will override. Now the override is another concept, okay, since it's a short course, so I will not explain this. So we can just call toString method from that particular case, like a header dot toString. So nothing happened. Oh, sorry. Why I forget that we need to print it out, because it is returning something. A function will return something or will not return something. Void or return type. Okay. So there we go. So employee name is equal to header, ID is equal to 20, designation is a programmer. So there we can use this employee. Now let's suppose I don't want to use that employee. For example, let's say we have 20 employee at a time. Zarif, Mustafa, Javed. Now in order to print the data, I should print it specifically, so I don't like it. So for that purpose, I'm going to use another class, an array, and I'm going to put this all values into an array, and then I can use them. All right, so let's do it right now. So we can do what we can create, like Zarif, Javed, and we need to initialize them. Like Zarif is equal to new, and so you say new and employee. So you can say Zarif H21, and he's a marketer, so that's why I'm saying marketer. I think the spelling is wrong, but I can manage that. We can create an array of employee. Okay, we can say employee is equal to new employee. We can put 10 data over here, and I can store this in that employee. Like I can store Zarif, and I think so. Yeah, I can store Zarif and header into employee. So if I'm not wrong, yeah. So what we're gonna do here is simply employee. We can say 0 equals to let's say header, and employee 1 equals to Zarif. There we go. Now we need to print just this employee 2 times. We can use for each loop, we can use for loop. It's up to you. We can say employee dot get employee x dot get name, or you can say to string. So let's run this code. As you can see, now we have two data. So like that, you can put multiple data into this array. So you learned about class, array of classes, and data structure, and we discussed as in our slides. So I think so this is a long video that happened. So let's go to the next and last lecture of this course about the inheritance. So see you there.